What's up, YouTube? We're a couple of cunts who are in the countryside. We're talking about E3. Gamers around the world rejoice. E3 has been and gone. Everyone can now spend the next 6 months wanking in their bedroom anticipating the slew of new games that are coming out. I'm sure you're beating your meat over new Metal Gears and such
The
business.
new Metal Gear looks okay. There's been there hasn't been anything really I thought, oh yeah, I need that. As with quite a large amount of the PC gaming fraternity at the moment, I'm still playing Diablo 3, and I can see that going on for, you know,
The rest of your mortal life.
Possibly. Diablo 2 did take me a fucking long time to get to a point where I was happy with it. I know some people who sort of, you know, don't really have full-time jobs or are uni students and have, you know, done it
Tramps in general.
just done so much of it already. And I just look at it and it's like, oh wow. I could either have a social life or I could catch up on the gaming, so I kind of...
You made the right choice, yeah.
But yeah, no, there's Metal Gear Rising Revengeance or whatever it's called. It's got a bit of a weird title.
That's not even a word.
I know, but it's good nonetheless.
Is it some sort of English that Hideo Kojima's just thrown out? Oh, Revengeance!
I think he speaks quite good English, actually. I don't know.
Well, he clearly doesn't. Or is that just you drunkenly slurring?
No, I'm sure it's
I think it's meant to be revenge and vengeance.
So
Revengeance.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't. That's a terrible title.
It's a terrible title.
Something else I've seen that they're continuing, which I've really liked. They've done it with Star Wars. They've done it with Indiana Jones. I think they might have done it with Batman as well.
Harry Potter also,
Yeah.
because I know what you're going to say here.
Yeah, they're doing Lord of the Rings Lego game, which I remember playing the first Star Wars one. It's like just genius combination, combining two of the best things ever, Star Wars and Lego.
It's going to be absolutely bitching. I mean, I've been wanting more of the Lego games to actually coincide with stuff I give a shit about. Like, there's been rumours of like them doing a Lego Marvel universe, which I'm all for, but yeah, Lego Lord of the Rings, I can see a Lego Orthanc and, you know, Lego Helm's Deep with a bunch of little Lego orcs attacking it. That, yeah, pretty good idea.
It was weird actually, because the Lord of the Rings games was some of the first film tie-in games that were actually quite decent, because there's a bit of a trend with when a film comes out, they'll make a game for it. Sometimes it's amazing, most of the time it's shit. But the Lord of the Rings ones, for the most part, the original ones were good. They've done like a bunch of other spin-offs which have been varying quality, but no, certainly the original ones of them was really good.
The very best games that come out that sort of relate to films are the ones that aren't directly tied in. For instance, when The Dark Knight came out was around the time they released Arkham Asylum, completely unrelated to the film and therefore fucking amazing. One of the games at E3 that I thought looked the best was The Testament of Sherlock Holmes, because obviously Sherlock Holmes is getting quite big again these days with the films coming out. Yeah. But yeah, like it's a sort of open world mystery solving Sherlock Holmes games. It looks fucking amazing. Also, there's a Transformers game that they...
Fall of Cybertron, which I'm really quite looking for. I hope they do that well, because looking at that, it's... Again, it's not to do with film, but it's basically what I imagine happens before in the current set of films, before they come to Earth. There's the big fight, they fuck up Cybertron, and then have to go looking for the Allspark and all the other shit happens. It's certainly looking promising. Because I know they've been working on that for a little while, because I remember seeing the trailer for that must have been about 2 years ago, like the original one I saw.
It's turning into a bit of a Duke Nukem Forever.
I can't see it going on for that long. The only reason that game is basically the video game equivalent of Chinese democracy.
Yes,
it had to be,
how disappointing it was when it came out as well.
It had to be done, just because otherwise, you know, people just would never have let it go, even if it was rubbish. They had to have it come out.
Oh, I love that during that whole Chinese democracy thing, the Offspring said they were going to release their new album under that name. Because Axl Rose had basically lapsed on it, but he was like, no, I'll sue you.
I hadn't heard that, which is quite funny. That might have actually spurred him to get it out a bit quicker, just like, look, other people are going to nick that and use it, you dick. I'm hoping they do another Aliens vs Predator game, but the new Aliens Colonial Marine game coming out, just that looks fucking terrifying.
Well, I remember...
I just hated playing them.
Did you ever play the, like, original Alien vs Predator, like, came out in '96 on the PC? Jesus, that's like Project Zero and shit. Scary. But I remember playing that on my own in the PC in my dining room, and fuck me, yeah, just, oh god.
But it hasn't got any better over the years, like playing the new one on the PS3. It's, I wouldn't say cartoony, but it's a lot less sort of harsh looking than the old PC ones. But yeah, certainly playing as a Predator is so much fun because you're walking around.
Well, no one fucks with the Predator.
You got a plasma caster. Playing as the Alien's great because you can run on the walls and shit and rip people's heads off. But playing as the Marine is just
terror.
It is literally just like, I like fighting the Predator because you normally know where he is. The Alien is just sort of like when you got like 4 trackers coming on your little motion things. Like, Oh god, Royal Army. Oh god, there's like lights flashing, you can't see down the corridor.
They're in the fucking
There's
walls!
oh god, where is it? And like you turn around at the last minute, it's just clawing your head off and you've run out of ammo and you're screaming like a 5-year-old girl. It's like, ah, it happens every time.
Weirdly, one of the games that I was most excited about at E3 was Pikmin 3. I fucking love Pikmin. That's a really, really classic game.
Isn't that one with all the little characters who you have like 100 of the little fuckers and you have to get them to run around and do
I
tasks?
love how you specify that one with the characters. It is, yeah, little like dudes with flowers on their heads. You fly around in an onion and you get them to do things. It's a bit like Lemmings, but with aliens and giant slug monsters. It's really good. Pikmin 3, amazing.
That's something that should make a comeback. I haven't really been paying much attention to them for the last, I don't know, God, 7 or 8 years. Was a Tomb Raider game, which is basically, I think, sort of like back to the origins, like the original, sort of like Lara Croft starting out.
They've sort of revisited a few things that I've completely lost track of, because like the last Resident Evil game I played was Resident Evil 4, so I've completely missed a game
6
there.
now.
Yeah, 6.
And I think there's been a couple of, at least 1 or 2 sort of on the side from that, but aren't like necessarily completely in the chronology, but they're sort of happening at the same time as something else. There's one where you go back to you're in Raccoon City with some specialist unit, and I'm sure there was something sort of going on at the same time as 5, but somewhere else in the world, I can't remember. There's Halo 4 coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what number game they're up to now, because there's a couple of spin-offs and whatnot. I think it's like the 6th, possibly
6th or 7th. Yeah.
Now, they've been going for a good 10 years now.
What do
which
you
is quite
care? You
impressive.
won't get to play it.
I mean, I don't mind Halo. I have occasionally played them. I'm more interested in Red versus Blue, to be honest with you.
One of the most prevalent things at E3 this year, and it's becoming a real big thing on the gaming market, is like motion gaming.
Yeah.
The Kinect, the Wii U, that sort of thing. I wonder, is the future of gaming just people spacking at their TVs? Like,
No, not.
you know, most Mondays when we go around the cameraman's house, the evening just descends into us screaming at his Kinect and watching it sort of look around. But like, I read an article fairly recently on Cracked. It was, I think what it was 5 kinds of game that need to happen right now. And
yeah, I remember.
One of them was, it's a game that takes full advantage of the motion capabilities of these things like the Kinect. And the thing it suggested, and I'm like, this is a fucking amazing idea, is some sort of Doctor Strange sorcery battle type thing, where basically you stand in front of your Kinect and you're either fighting the computer or you're fighting someone else, and what you have to do is just make all like arcane gestures and shit. Defensive in the left hand, offensive in the right hand. But you'd have to memorize all this shit, so you'd be doing it without even thinking. But the other thing is, you'd be watching the guy who you were combating and having to anticipate what he was doing. So if he threw a fireball at you, you'd have to cast some sort of defensive against fire while you were casting offensive against him, which would be really challenging.
It's almost like close range kung fu, where, you know, Wing Chun, what Bruce Lee did when they stood this close, and there's so many different moves to it, and you've got to be able to anticipate and flow in and out of stuff. It'd be kind of almost like watching that, just a really nerdy version where people are sort of doing spacked up gangster signs, like.
Well, yeah, and also it would be bitching hard, but like, I thought that was a really good idea. But the thing is, nothing like that is ever going to work, because when the Kinect sometimes can't even recognise that you have hands, how is it going to cope with you doing these complex gestures with your fingers? It just sees these 2 big glowing balls. It's not going to work.
I'm quite open-minded. A game's got to have something for me to be interested in playing it. Usually, longevity is a big one for me. Like Diablo 3, as I mentioned earlier, case in point, I could probably spend the rest of my life doing that before you get every single trophy and every single item. Skyrim, which I think they're bringing out some sort of expansion or something for, I've just seen.
DLC, yeah.
You know, Skyrim, haven't actually got around to playing that, because when that came out, I was still doing Fallout 3, which I've only actually done that game through once. I know there's like people who've done it 3 or 4 times. I've literally done it once, because, again, it's a good game, but I don't want to spend all of my life playing that.
Did anybody see the PlayStation All-Stars stuff?
What's that?
Imagine Super Smash Bros. with PlayStation characters.
I can't really think of many PlayStation characters besides Solid Snake.
I was going to say,
and he's in Super Smash Brothers anyway.
Snake isn't in it, so as we know. We've got the Big Daddy from Bioshock, and the dude from Uncharted, Fat Princess, Kratos from God of War, Sly Raccoon, or whatever his name is.
See, I think
sort of just a mix like that.
Sounds like I'd give Nary a shit.
PlayStation do get a little screwed over, because at least with Nintendo, because they're that much older than PlayStation and Xbox, a lot more of their characters have sort of crept into sort of mainstream culture, and you can, you know, you expect them to be there sort of thing. People like Mario, just to throw him out there.
But they had
Zelda.
like Super Smash Brothers had like Sega characters,
yeah,
like
well,
Sonic and shit.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say,
Worlds.
I saw a crossover the other day, but I thought it might be quite good, but then looking at the graphics, decided maybe not. There's a Street Fighter versus Tekken. I know they did. I think they did. Was it Capcom versus
SNK.
SNK a little while back. I really follow the crossover ones. There was also, I think it was a Mortal Kombat versus DC.
That's right.
Again, like
They're making a new DC fighting game that's from the same guys who made that, but it's not got any of the MK stuff.
See,
this
what-
time.
again, I haven't even got the newest Mortal Kombat game.
Why aren't they crossing over things that people would actually care to see, like DC versus Marvel, or Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat? They're surely the things that would be better.
I think a Marvel versus DC game, the amount of work they'd have to put into that to keep everyone happy would be utterly astronomical.
Wouldn't be too much different from Marvel vs. Capcom though, to be fair. Similar idea.
Again, like making fighter games these days is very, very difficult to keep everybody happy. Like Tekken 6, I played that and was a bit disappointed, to be honest with you.
They'll never top Tekken 2.
What I like with the new Mortal Kombat, the little bit I've played of it, they just went back to the old school. It's just almost entirely 2D. It's really good graphics, really good fighting and stuff, but so actually, you know what? We're unashamedly old school. We were doing this before half of these companies existed. Fuck it. We're Mortal Kombat. Finish him.
Well, we've been a couple of cunts in the countryside. If you enjoyed this video, like, favourite, subscribe and share. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook. If you didn't enjoy this video, you should probably just go back to spacking in front of your telly. Feel free to suggest a topic for us to talk about in a future episode. We'll see you next time.
Game makers, here's an idea for you. Make a couple of cunts in the countryside game, or we'll cut you. Nice.